Hey gang, Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro, and I am uploading this special market update just so I can rip through and give you a little bit of commentary looking at all of our favorite projects that are on my hit list and the ones that we talk most about on the Crypto Pro channel on Telegram. Crypto Pro Carlton is the name of the Telegram channel, so you're welcome to jump in and chat with us. So, of course, we've got a lot of red on the board, but let's make sense of it all, and I want to show you why this is an outstanding opportunity and why I'm so happy to see all of this red that is going on over here across on my favorites. So I'm trying a different format here in what is this, 1240 by 1028, I think, is a format that I'm using here just to try that out and see how it works out. So let me know how you like this format. I usually use 1024 by 768. So anyway, I'm here with my second favorite Jordan hoodie. I love this one. Do you like this one? The orange one is my favorite one, but this is number 2. It kind of has a baseball type of feel. I really love it. And it's a snap up instead of a zip up. And I love the gray and the white trim on it. So I'm going to wear this thing until it falls apart. But anyway, let's jump into the action here. And first of all, let's get rid of this video window and we'll just start right in from the top with Bitcoin. And what we're going to do right now is look at the 1 hour action, and then we'll check out the 4 hour and the 1 day charts, because you're going to see something here, how I determine what's going to be happening in the near future and for the medium term by looking at the differences between these time frames on the chart. So with Bitcoin, of course, we have the big, nice, steep dive, and now we have a bounce up on the 1 hour. And it kind of looks like this bounce up, as this stochastic is coming up, it will either curl back over here, which I call a weak stochastic. A strong one is when it makes it all the way to the top of the cycle and enters into the overbought zone before it comes down, or it will enter overbought and bounce around and stay up here. A weak stochastic is this one, where it moves up and comes down, and then all of a sudden, when it tries to come back up, it reverses, and you have an overall trend downward. So while this one is definitely higher, this is a higher high than the previous last two, it's still below these last 1, 2, 3, 4 peaks. And then we look up above and compare what the price is doing where this stochastic is right here. So let's just say, for example, what's the price at this peak? Here we are right here. And so then when we had this next peak, which is down, the price kind of stayed up. And then on this one, we returned a lower dip, or a lower price at this peak. So that is a bearish overall trend. And then when we had the major drop, notice how at this stochastic peak, it only pushed us up to this point here, which is a lower high. So that's how I can determine if we have a trading channel that's developing. So this would be the channel, something like this, okay? And then you look at other clues like the 50-day EMA and the 200-day EMA, and when they cross over. So here on the 1 hour, we see that they're about ready to cross over. And usually when you have a crossover like that, it's a bearish indicator. It tells you that we're probably going to stay within that channel for the time being. Now, on balance, volume looks pretty good, which this, of course, is the approximation of whether the institutional investors are accumulating or distributing, which means selling, distribution, their tokens. So here we had the big dip, but then we had this nice strong bounce right back up that's on this bounce here. And so it's pretty healthy, where we see that once we got right back to the peak of this OBV, that the price is actually lower. So this is kind of a healthy, normal market correction and not an absolute crazed sell-off. So that doesn't worry me too much. All right, let's just run down the line and see how all of the alts compared to Bitcoin. First, we have XRP, which actually didn't do too bad at all. We kind of hung around here. It bounced up from 25. We're back up to what, 28.5. So we've got a tighter trading range here, not as big of a percentage dive as what some of these other alts have experienced. And with XRP being delisted, I'm pretty impressed that it didn't drop down further than it did like we had when the news hit of the SEC suit. Litecoin looking pretty good, but it has dropped down into my strike zone. So we had the big steep drop, which was a lot worse than Bitcoin. We have a lot uglier of an unbalanced volume showing a lot of distribution going on, a very weak stochastic where we went straight down here to the border of oversold, and 2 attempts to come back up that were immediately pivoted into continued rejection. And now we have this little pump up, but based on this wick here, notice a wick on the top of this 1 hour candle, it's already come back down, which says momentum is still going downward. So I look for it to continue down into my strike zone. Now, I'm not ready to buy. Of course, right here, it was tempting at 110, but I'm thinking that with this continued momentum, I might wait until we get deep down into this green box before I buy, probably below this price of 115. But overall, we could be going lower. And I'll show you that once we get to the 4 hour and the 1 day chart. Ethereum, same thing, deep dip. Couple little recoveries, but notice that we have a trading channel going on. So within all of this bouncing around, the overall is downward, okay? And so this is where we see the complete dive, and then we do this whipsaw action where we bounce around within this channel. And so I would say this is a bearish trend until we get confirmation that we break out of that channel. That would tell us that we've hit a bottom. All right, so let's clear that, and moving right along, Chainlink, which had dipped all the way down, it wicked down to $12.50. Same thing, we got a crossover about to happen with the 200-day and the 50-day, which tells me that this nice big climb on the stochastic is probably going to meet its demise, as downward momentum is pretty strong, and we just continue making these lower highs. 1, 2, 3, 4 lower highs. On balance volume showing generally a lot of distribution with a little recovery here, but mostly selling pressure. Loom, which is the one that I'm currently playing right now, Loom could settle down here at this previous base level of about 3.5 cents. But it looks very healthy overall, and we're sitting right below the point of control price of 4.9 cents. So there's a chance that it could consolidate right here and not reach down to this 3.5 cents price, especially with the bulk of the volume on the volume profile showing the popularity of the institutional trading happening right here. Stochastic looking pretty weak, but I'm impressed that we have dipped down into oversold and we have not sunken far below the 4 cents level. And the OBV, we had all of this heavy accumulation, a little bit of distribution. It's definitely some selling there, but we have not dipped below the previous levels before we had the pump. So that's healthy. Look at this. Here is where we were before the pump, okay? And then after the sell-off, here we are at a higher level. So as long as we stay above this previous level, I would say this is pretty healthy for Loom, and it's just a consolidation move. All right, so moving right along, DNT, which jumped all the way down to about 7.3 cents. We're currently trading at 10.9 cents, looking very healthy, not too bad. And I'm thinking that with a continuation of the bearish trend, 6 cents could be the target. If not, we could jump down to this little volume profile node that's sticking out at 4.9. If we hit that, I'm loading up the wagon. But this is a perfect example to show you how you can tell where the general direction is going. Look at this huge, okay, so we had the peak here. We had a smaller peak here and a smaller peak here as we maxed out up above 20 cents. But notice that on the next cycle up, when it didn't even make it all the way up, we had a price right here at the point of control at 13.5. Now, the stochastic went above touching the overbought zone, but look at the price that it returned, a lower high. Cycled all the way down. We bounced all the way back up on the stochastic cycle, and what do we have? Another lower high. So that says the general trend is going down. So we're headed towards a base level, and we'll just have to wait and see where it ends up. Overall, with the on-balance volume, lots of distribution is being shown. But when I get to the 1 day or the 4 hour and then the 1 day, you're going to see where that's not such a bad thing when you zoom out. So the last one, Civic, same movement as DNT. Mana, same movement as DNT. GNT, I could go on, but we'll just stick with these top coins here and then jump to the 4 hour. and look at the big shots, look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour, notice it's a little bit more clear that, yeah, we're having a serious correction. This is not just a quick bounce down and another surge up. This is a good correction. And then you can see here on the stochastic that we're at the bottom of a cycle and it's starting to cycle up. But where will it push price up to? By the time this stochastic gets to the top, or even if it makes it up to a peak, we'll look and see what the corresponding price is, and that will let us know if we're still in a downtrend. All right, so the OBV, you can see that this is not that serious of a dip when you're on the 4-hour, because we're still on a very nice increase when you connect the dots of the bottom points of the on-balance volume. All right, moving right along. XRP doesn't look as strong with the on-balance volume, but it does look like we're at a dip, at a low point here. Not to say that this can't go lower into the oversold zone, because it probably will, but this shows a lot more strength than what I thought it would do. Litecoin. Whoo, so we've got this %K about to cross the %D, the blue line and the red line. And when that happens, it could be a reversal in trend for the stochastic where you start to cycle up. However, how far is it going to go? When we compare this peak here at $182 and where we are right now after dipping all the way down to 109, I think the volume, or rather the price trend, is still downward. So I would look to see, once again, what is the price that we return after we complete the stochastic cycle. If we have a lower high, we're still going down. Ethereum, did I skip Ethereum on the 1 hour? I can't remember. But anyway, serious dive. Okay. I think correction is still coming for this, even though we're at the bottom of the 4-hour cycle with the stochastic. So once this comes up, maybe we fight our way back up to the top of this fib ring. I think this is the 4.618 on my blue set. And we usually see action right along these lines, just like you saw right here. We dive down and we touch the 2.316, and then we jump up to the 4.236. And now we're going to jump to the 4.618 probably, and then we could take another dive down. I think we're headed towards the point of control at 731, but we don't know. So don't quote me on that. It's not financial advice. Chainlink, pretty good correction. The same thing. Do you notice how a lot of these movements are mirroring the movement in Bitcoin? Do you see that? When Bitcoin takes a steep correction, it drags everything else down with it. When Bitcoin sidebands, alts run. All right, looking at Loom on the 4-hour, the stochastic looks a lot weaker, even though we're approaching a crossover right here at the bottom. But you can see that just with this overall pop, we very well could float down to this 3.47 cents level by the time the correction gets done. DNT, which looks pretty healthy, but here you can see we're still in an overall downtrend. There's nothing holding us up here, and we don't have what looks to be a completion of the channel before the next leg up. Although the stochastic is showing that we're in an upward movement, as you can see right there on the price chart. Okay, let's just flip to the 1 day, and then we'll call it a day. Here we go, 1 day. And let's see what all of these same indicators look like. With Bitcoin, it looks ugly. And we can see that we're poking down into the beneath the overbought zone for the first time in a long time, since back here when we crawled out of it on December the 15th. On balance volume, you can see that sell-off coming in right there. We can see these volume profile nodes that are possible targets where they usually attract the price. So we've already wicked down to here. So I think worst case scenario, 27,000 is a node, 23,000. And then we've got this one at 19, which coincides with breaking the previous all-time high. We'll have to wait and see how deep this correction goes. XRP is crossing over on the stochastic with the 1 day, which says that it's got a long way to go on its journey down. Okay, so that's why I'm not touching XRP at this point. I think it's going to settle back down here around 22. Litecoin, not looking good at the top end of the stochastic down cycle, which you never know. We could jump back up just like here where it recollects itself and makes a move back up into the overbought zone. But with a serious correction, we could take a trip down into the abyss where the full cycle completes just like it did in the past. So I'm thinking that I might have to adjust this strike zone because we could be jumping down here to these volume nodes if Bitcoin continues its correction. And if we get down into the 80s, I think I'm going to get 10 Litecoin. That will be my late Christmas present to myself. Ethereum, which is back above 1,000, still right here at the top. It's still in overbought zone and has not dipped down below the line on the one-day chart, which tells me that if this trend continues, if we're in a bearish channel within our bull market, it can come a lot further down. So we could be looking at this volume node at 600, or this one here at 737. And as we travel down into this no man's land here, I call this the slip zone. If we get close to this slip zone, that's usually where price takes a dive and attracts itself to the next volume node. All right, Chainlink is already into the middle territory, falling below the overbought zone. And so we can see there that we might be headed toward my target, which is this around $12.50 at the volume point of control price, what we call that. Let's look at Loom. So Loom, we see that we're already halfway down the stochastic cycle, which is nice. So this on balance volume shows a heavy sell-off, which is not healthy because we're below the previous level. That's not good. That doesn't look as good as it does on the 4 hour. So that's why I would exercise a little bit of caution, even though I think Loom, like it always does, has a nice rebound. So if we do get down here into the 3 cents base, I'm loading up. DNT is in the middle territory here. We had a nice movement up and it went down, and then we collected ourselves and moving down again. On balance volume is not looking good, and just like with Loom, it's below the previous level. So there's been a lot of profit taking, a whole lot of profit taking going on, which tells me that it is possible we could come down here to the point of control price of 4.9 cents. I don't know. Maybe we hit this blue baseline at 6.2 and travel up, but there's going to have to be some consolidation. We can expect, if you're patient and you can handle this, here's the worst case scenario. Price does something like this. It finds a base, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did before. And it's going to consolidate. And then people are going to start complaining, when is DNT going to break out? But I say the longer it does this in this consolidation zone like that, the stronger the breakout will be. So when we come up out of this consolidation period, it's going to boom. Whoops. I want an arrow. I want a big fat arrow. Let's put a big fat arrow right here that indicates the explosion that's going to happen. I mean, look back at the previous. What did we have before? Here it is right here. You had your peak, your correction to a new base. And look at this. Up and down. Consolidation. You see that? That's what usually happens. And the longer that it is, the stronger the pump when you come out of that consolidation. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because the rest of them pretty much look the same. But let me know if you have any questions. Post it in the comments below, or if you'd like to have me look at a particular project. I'll be glad to do some TA on it. Overall, guys, I love this. I love all the red in the market. Look at all these fantastic prices here. This is an opportunity because we've been shooting up so hard and fast. I'm like, oh man, I'll never get the chance to consolidate at low prices again. This is it. I missed the boat. I pray for these days because I'm in this for the long haul. I'm waiting until the fall bull run. So I welcome red days like this. And plus, it's great for the beginners who jumped in at the wrong time, where they think that the market will continue to go up and never come down. Let this be a good learning lesson that the steep slope up cannot last forever. We're going to have corrections, so you need to plan for that. And when these corrections happen, that's where you start to accumulate. When you buy while everyone else is panicking and selling, you'll set yourself up where you have your positions before the next run happens, because I know what's going to happen. I'll be posting videos about a breakout on Loom, a breakout on DNT or Civic or Litecoin or whatever, and people will say, should I buy now? And my standard answer is going to be, you should have been buying this months ago when we were in a red market. You don't ever buy into a run, because you will get wrecked. Because each and every time I bought into a run, it was at the peak and I had to wait for months for the next move to happen and a long consolidation period before it hit the next level. And don't dare buy into a run at the peak of a bull market, because then that means you'll be waiting 2 to 3 years for the entire bear market before you'll ever have the chance again to sell at a profit. So hopefully we all learn from that. I'm going to go ahead and watch these markets a little bit, and then I got to take a trip to Texas and back. Hopefully I'll be available a little bit while my wife is driving in the Telegram group. But I'll be back home tomorrow and start to post up more video updates. Thanks for watching. Welcome to all the new subs. Let's push this thing over 1,000. Let's get this bread. Shout out to my nephews who are all excited, who are now in the group. Jeffrey, Jordan, Jonathan, my niece, Jocelyn Elaine. Glad to have you guys there. It's so exciting to have family on board. I'm teaching the next generation, guys, setting them up right now so they can be in it to win it. This is Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro, and I am out.